Hey everyone, I'm in my music studio somewhere north of Detroit, and it's moving time for me. I've lived in this house for over 12 years, but the landlord sold it and it's time for me to move on to bigger and better things. But before I do that, I wanted to give you a studio tour and canonize this room in a YouTube video because every piece of music I've ever created was made here. Okay, let's get started. So first of all, I have a MacBook Pro and a PC. I use the MacBook Pro as a recording box. It's the only thing I use it for, and I do everything else on the PC. This MacBook Pro is from 2008, making it 13 years old, going on 14 at this point. All of my software still works, so I haven't had any need to upgrade it. I did replace the logic board at one point, which is absolutely crazy. And from what I understand, you can't even do that anymore. Apple does not want you to fix your old computer. They want you to buy a new computer. So I am hanging on to this one for dear life. I'm gonna see how many more albums I can record on it. So who knows, maybe in another 12, 13 years I'll still be using it. We'll see. So next to the MacBook Pro, we have this Apogee Duet. This is what I use for my audio interface, or A to D conversion. Back here, we have a Scarlett 6i6 interface for the PC. So the MacBook Pro did crap out at one point, and like I said, I ended up replacing the logic board. In the short term, I moved my music production over to the PC, and I just bought this in a pinch. It's fine. And below it, we have this Mo2 5-channel MIDI interface. This thing is really handy because I can plug into 5 MIDI devices at once, and everything's just all set up. I can have a couple keyboards, electronic drum kit, someone can bring over a drum machine, and we don't have to constantly unplug and plug things back in. So that's been handy. My PC is, it's a souped up Dell. I've always built my own PCs in the past, but that's with RAM shortages and GPU shortages. Building your own PC isn't as fun or money saving as it used to be. So we've got some microphones down here. These are the 3 microphones that I use most. There's the Audio-Technica AT4050. It's a condenser microphone. It's a very good microphone for its price range. And then we have this Shure Beta 58A, a dynamic stage mic. That's a very well-known and popular microphone. And then I have my headset microphone that I use when I record piano and sing at the same time. It just kind of frees me up. All right, so as you can see, this desk is, I would say it's garage sale quality. I had this in my room as a kid, I think, and at one point I was looking into replacing it, but I was never able to find anything that's just so compact. As you can see, I've got a lot of toys jammed in here, and as you'll see, I'm very short on space in this room. I'm just in a little 10 by 10 spare bedroom. So we have these Mackie monitors up top here. Very nice. And sort of what's handy about this is I can set the Mac here, and then it's got this little drawer that slides out. I'm gonna try to do this while filming. Just push this back in. Okay, so I can get that out of the way if I need to. So down here, I have a rack with some outboard gear. I have this Universal Audio 610 Solo preamp. And below that I have a Lexicon MX400 effects unit, a Art Pro VLA2 compressor, and then that's an Art patch bay. I put it in the rack, but I have not set up the patch bay yet. That's just a project that I haven't got around to, and so it's just kind of sitting there right now. And below that is the power supply for my mixing board. So I really like to work with outboard gear as much as possible. It's just a personal preference. There's nothing wrong with plugins. I just like knobs and buttons and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so coming over this way, we have this Toft ATB8 analog mixing board. This is a 100% analog console, and it's, I would say, at the prosumer level, this thing was not cheap. I'm really happy with it. It just seems like no matter what I want to do, I can find some way to do it. It has this auxiliary section right here that pretty much just adds another eight channels, and I can pretty much route anything, anywhere, in any way with this. I am not doing my final mixdowns on this board because I would need a different audio interface. So this duet is of course just 2 channels, so I would need 8 in and 8 out to do my final mixdowns on this board. Something I do want to do eventually. So now let's take a look at my keyboards. So up top we have the Roland FA08. Oh, it's the 06. And I really like this. It has this sort of, getting some glare here. Can kind of see my ceiling. Oh yeah, you can see my ceiling fan. Cool. So you probably can't see this very well, but it has this sort of animation sequence, which is really neat. I've never seen anything like that before on a synth. So what's really cool about this is it has basically an SP505 built in. So if I'm performing live, I can assign backing tracks to each of those buttons, and you can have all kinds of fun with that. It's used in, the SP505 is used in lo-fi hip-hop a lot, so that's fun to have. And I really wanted to get this Roland here for the Roland drum sounds, the classic 808 and 909 drum sounds. That's a good thing to have in your arsenal these days. However, when comparing the piano and organ sounds to the Nord, the Roland is just sounds cheesy. So below we have the Nord stage piano. This is the first version. I've had this for a while. All this thing does is make sound. There's no sequencer, there's no sampler. It just makes piano, organ, and synth sounds, but it does that very, very well. And like I said, you know, the piano and organ sounds on this Nord blow that Roland out of the water. No contest. So I play this thing all the time. This is a, it says 88 weighted keys. I guess it's not, oh yeah, the volume's turned down. These keys actually have more resistance on them than the acoustic piano that I learned, like playing when I was like growing up, like at my parents' house and stuff. So it's really nice to play on. So I'm gonna pan around here and talk about the acoustic panels. I just bought some panels and just threw them up on the wall. This is not a proper acoustic treatment, but having some panels on the wall does help absorb the sound. If I'm recording something acoustic, it doesn't have that echoey metallic sound. So it does help to have these on the wall, even though, you know, you can get really, you know, in depth and scientific with how you set up these panels, and you can do it all like proper and stuff, and that's not what I've done. I just slapped them up on the wall where I had space, but it does help. Okay, so let's move around this way, and I have an acoustic drum set. So this is too big for this room. I'm in a little 10 by 10 bedroom. I just set this up just for show today. I mean, I couldn't even put a drum throne behind there. I guess I could turn it around and screw around with it. But it seems like if I was gonna do some serious practicing with the drum set, I'd have to remove these synthesizers to make some more room, which of course is a big hassle. So it's just set up for decoration today. So kind of what happened is I had so I learned on an electronic drum kit that was set up right here. As you can see, there's two shelves and they have speakers. So I had the drum kit set up, plugged into those speakers, and then I also had the auxiliary output sent to the mixing console so that I would also hear the drum kits on these monitors, so it would have this nice kind of surround sound type of thing going on. However, you know, I learned on an electronic kit, I played on that thing for a couple years, and I just quickly hit a wall with it. You just do not get the sort of nuance and the sensitivity to, you know, really, you know, learn to play the drums well. So I thought it would be clever and buy a Ludwig breakbeats kit, which is supposed to be a smaller drum kit. It is a smaller drum kit, but still there's just not really enough room in here. So I'm going to have more room in my new house. So soon this will be a non-issue, but I wanted to set it up today just to kind of show off the equipment. So like I said, I've got the Ludwig breakbeats shell pack. This is actually a vintage 1970s Jupiter snare drum from Pearl. I bought it off Craigslist, and the guy who I bought it from, he was this retired drummer. He talked my ear off about this thing. He seemed to think this is a very special drum. He said this used to be part of his personal kit. You know, he's played drums all his life, and I guess he doesn't like to use 14-inch snares anymore. But he said he would get a lot of compliments on this drum. It had a lot of warmth and character to it, so it seems like it's a very special drum. I have not played on it much yet, but he refurbished it and everything. And then I have these Zildjian custom K dark cymbals, which these are very nice. So due to lack of space, I have not been playing the drums much lately, but I plan on changing that once I move into my new house. Okay, so let's pan over this way, and I can show you my bass and my electric guitar. Oh, and there's Jimmy. A friend in college gave that to me, and I had it ever since. So over here we have a Fender Jazz Bass, Candy Apple Red, very new and shiny. And we have a Fender Rumble 100 bass amp. And then next to it we have the PRS Custom S2 Semi-Hollow, I think I'm saying that right. Very striking instrument, if I do say so myself. And then I just bought this Marshall practice amp. This is the NG30FX. It's a solid state amp. It's definitely one of the cheaper Marshall amps. I just bought it just as a practice amp. Yeah, you might be able to play a small venue with that. Very, very small. All right. And that's about it, but I should also mention my wall of rave flyers. I'm probably not going to get the best shot of this because of all the stuff in the room. I can't back up that much. But anyway, I'm not going to spend too much time here, but these are flyers from raves in the Midwest in the late 90s and early 2000s. This collage has been up on the wall for pretty much ever since I moved in, so about 12 or 13 years. I'm gonna have to take this down pretty soon. It's kind of a shame. This took a lot of time to do this. Probably more time than you would think, just to get it all, you know, looking cool and just kind of to make it sort of visually interesting and sort of arrange the flyer so they're not covering each other and stuff. It really took a lot of time. So I really like these sort of anime influenced designs in the late 90s. Very cool.